सध्या आसा पणजे हांगासर आनी तुमी जाणा की सेरेंडिपिटी आर्ट्स फेस्टिवल हे 12 तारखेच्यान चालू जाता आनी त्या भितर वेगवेगळे क्युरेटर्स आसा 35 क्युरेटर्स अशे आसात जे वेगवेगळे तेंचे एक्झिबिशन्स आसा क्युरेशन प्रोसेस आसा वर्कशॉप्स आसा अशेच एक क्युरेटर म्हाज्या वांगडा आसा राहाब वेलकम टू गोवा.
Thank you very much. My name is Rahaab Allana. I work for the Al-Qazi Foundation for the Arts. It's a foundation in New Delhi dedicated to archives of photography.
Okay, so your event is displacement.
Yes.
So what is it about?
Yes, the idea of displacement has come to me because I work in the colonial archive, you could call it that. And so for the last many years, scholars, artists, historians, people have been trying to decolonize history, to think of how we can set ourselves free from the parameters of, the last 200 years, as it were, before independence. And are coming together with thinking of interesting ways to question representation, to question how we see ourselves, personal expression. And so displacement was thinking about what is the most difficult moment that we are addressing in our time. Over 100 million people were displaced in last year, in 2024. And so I reached out to artists from Afghanistan, from the Middle East largely, from the Gulf, who were artists seeking exile and had sought exile, but at the same time were producing art in exile. So what happens, what can their art tell us about the social history and the culture of the present? That is what displacement was about. It is about, so all of these artists are thinking about what home is, what it means to produce work outside that, and how they can actually communicate to world cultures right now. And serendipity becomes an important way for us to think about how different artists from different countries can speak to one another, can highlight things, can make things visible that have not been seen.
Okay, this is your first time for the festival? Or do you have
No, it's my fifth time. I've showcased 4 times before. It's my fifth time, and in all of my exhibitions, I've been looking largely at South Asia. So it's the first time I've made a specific decision to look outside South Asia. But I've done that because I wanted to think of us imagining a kind of global context for South Asia. What we are going through in South Asia, maybe the geopolitics of our region can also speak to the geopolitics of another region. So these are communities that share a lot in common. And so I wanted us to think outside this sort of subcontinental history, but also highlight what in subcontinental history can be seen in other parts of the world.
As we say in Goa is known for various artists are born here.
Yes.
So how do you see Goa as artist hub and Serendipity Arts Festival? Because it from the beginning, from 2016, it has become the permanent home for the festival.
Yes,
Goa.
yes, I know. I mean, in one of the first years, I had come to give a talk at Adil Shah Palace, even before I was curating over here. And there were many sort of archives of Goa that I was interested in. There were lots of photography studios that was looking at the Indo-Portuguese history, of course. And so for me, there was at that point of time an interesting group of artists who were producing analog work in photography also. I had engaged with them before. I think what's important for me is this question of the global and the local having an interaction. So it's nice sometimes for local communities to be exposed to works from the outside. It's also important for a lot of people from outside to come and be exposed to artists from here. I know there are lots of arts and crafts initiatives that Serendipity is already engaged with. There's a lot of work they've done with the heritage of Goa in terms of restoration and conservation. And I think this is why Goa as a hub is it's a straightforward answer. On the one hand, yes, it's a place where communities come together. It sits in the center of India. It's easy for people from north and south to come in. It's a very welcoming city. But at the same time, I think people have become sensitive to the fact that more and more needs to be done, to highlight communities here. And I think that interaction is going to ever grow, right? The festival is here to stay in many respects. And so that conversation will keep growing and evolving with time. I think 10 years is an important hallmark for any to see what has happened, to understand a generational change, to see artists who were exhibited for the first time what they are doing now, to see how patronage has worked, and to see how basically the city has transformed in the last 10 years. And as you can see in Goa, many people have come from all over India to settle. And even though this is something that Goa is dealing with, different cities are dealing with, I think the idea is, the nice part about that is that the dialogues are growing and they're opening out. And they're also questioning, what is relevant, what is necessary, how can we bring these two worlds together? It's important to constantly have those questions asked and answered. Well, I think the curation is also an evolving sort of methodology. It's a process. It has a lot to do with how we dialogue between festivals, who our stakeholders are. I work a lot with university. I can only speak for myself. I work with students and universities, with academics a lot. And I think in there's a questioning. The most important thing is to be able to speak from your point of view. I think it's when you clarify your position, it helps other people understand where you come from, who you are. And I think my efforts certainly have been to clarify positions that I've taken with various artists, to talk about questions of citizenship, to talk about questions of secularism, to talk about personal history, talk about memory. These have become important refrains because I work a lot with photography, but also with image cultures. I think artists for me are, they are the spokespeople of a time, of this time in many, many respects, because they are looking at history around them and they're looking at what's happening in the contemporary, and they're trying to translate that into an experience. They're trying to make that something that you can reach across to a person on the other side and communicate with them. And you can see that there are many things which are allowing us to build bridges.
Yes, of course. And
Art is a bridge. Yeah.
yes, art is also.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I just want to end by saying one thing. Yes, it is. We have to grow this community of art, right? And at this point of time, while people interact on social media, while people interact from their homes, making home videos, we are trying to say that every viewer is also a maker, right? Every participant is also an artist somewhere. And so that inner artist in you is something that we want to bring out.
In their own way.
Yeah, in their own way. Everyone is a maker. Everyone is a receiver. Everyone is a communicator. So this growing community of art is not an exclusive community, it's an inclusive community, saying that you are also an artist. Everyone here is an artist. So it has something in all of us is asking us to reach out to the other person and communicate sometimes in complex and abstract ways, in poetic ways. So that is the lyricism of art. And as long as lyricism is something you enjoy, then you'll enjoy the festival and you'll enjoy being an artist yourself.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.